it's Mary and welcome to 25 Days of Plantmas. This is a special Mom Raises Life holiday series where I'll be talking about at least one of my plants per day, every day during Vlogmas. I'll be sharing with you the plant's journey with me ever since I've gotten it, all of our highs and lows, and of course how I care for and propagate the plant. So let's go check my plant event calendar and see which one of my plants I'll be sharing with you today. Today is day 20 of 25 Days of Plantmas. And the plant nest of the day is my heartleaf philodendron and the Philodendron Brazil. As far as philodendrons, I don't really have the fancy rare kinds of philodendrons except for the Philodendron Brazil and the heartleaf philodendron, but I am very much in love with these two philodendrons because they're such fast growers and very good growers for me. Let me start with this heartleaf philodendron first. So when I got this, it was very small and very little. I got this from a grocery store as well called Safeway. I think I got it for $4, and I think at that time I was looking for jade pothos because I just want a green pothos without any variegation, and I saw this and I thought it was a jade pothos, but it turned out to be a heartleaf philodendron. But that was okay, it worked out fine because I do love the shape of the philodendron because it is heart-shaped, hence called heartleaf philodendron, and I love heart-shaped leaves. And this one is a very easy and fast grower as well. As you can see, it has been trailing, and I put it in a corner of my bed where there's like a semi-floating shelf over there, and I really hope it like trails really long by the next growing season. And this is a very hardy plant. If I had such bad luck with the golden pothos, with this one is quite the opposite. This one, I never really had any problems when it comes to overwatering, root rot, or any browning leaves. And we are in the middle of December and it still continued to push new growth, and it doesn't really matter where I put this in my room or any part of the house. It continues to thrive, it continues to do its own thing, and it has been very happy in my care, which is I'm very glad to have in my care. And this is my Philodendron Brazil. I got the Philodendron Brazil probably early or mid-summer. I found it at the garden center, either at Lowe's or Home Depot. All my plants either just came from Lowe's or Home Depot. As much as I want my plants to come from nurseries, there's not really a lot of nurseries in my area, and the nurseries I do have tend to overprice their plants a little bit, and I can't afford them. So most of my plants just really come from garden centers, and there's really nothing wrong with that. Or it doesn't really matter where your plants came from, because once they are in your care, they belong to you, and your home is their home. So that's my thing about that. But anyways, this Philodendron Brazil has also grown really long, and this is a very fast grower, and it's really amazing how fast this thing grows. And at first when I had it in a 8-inch pot, I believe, and I've noticed that when it grows, it tends to grow up like this, tends to point up. So I said, well, this is begging for a moss bowl, so let me just create a moss bowl for it. And I did, and I had it wrap around a moss bowl, and I think on my very first plant collection video you can see how it looks like on a moss bowl. But at that time I didn't like the look of the moss bowl. It's kind of very distracting, and it would take a while before it actually fills up the entire moss bowl. So I decided to take it out and put it in this eco planter that I got from Live. This is the same eco planter that I was hoping to buy using Nick Pileggi's affiliate code, but for some reason I ended up not buying it, and then I got it at Live when Summer Rain Oaks had her book signing there, and they were having a sale. Well, they were having a book pub crawl. Basically, if I buy or have Summer Rain's book, which I did at that time, I can get a 50% off any purchase I had at Live. And so I got this one. I think this was originally priced $20. I got it for $18.50. And actually, if I just went a week later, they had it on 30% off sale, which would have made it just $14 something. But it's okay. I love this eco planter because I could hang it up on the wall, and it's also self-watering. So I just have to put water over here and this panel over here. I don't know if you can see it. and then I would just have to fill it all the way to the top, and it would water this plant. So I actually most of the time just have it up here because I don't want to keep putting it up and putting it down, because I am very scared of ruining my walls, and I feel like if I keep putting it down, putting it back up, it would loosen up whatever screws I have on top there, and it would just like damage the wall. So I just keep it there as much as possible, but every now and then I do bring it down just to make sure everything looks good and everything still works fine. For this plant, like now it has like a couple of yellowing and browning leaves, which is fine. I'm not too concerned about that because they looks like they are, because it looks like they are the older leaves. And actually this needs watering, so I have to water this after this video. So basically I'll just put like water in here, let this, and it will seep through the soil, and once it absorbs it, it's pretty good. And when you have an eco planter like this, don't overwater it, because at first I was overwatering it because I thought that the water I put at the back panel is not enough for this plant, but it is more than enough for this plant. So don't make the same mistake as I did. I think I refilled it 3 times thinking the water is not getting absorbed by the soil or it's not enough, but trust me, it's more than enough, because like when I tilted it, all the water was just like coming out, and the soil in the plant doesn't need all that extra water. So just like fill it up to the line, and that's it. When I actually have it hanging up there and I don't put it down, I just fill this bottle up, which is usually my bottle that I use to spray my plants. So I just filled it up. This is probably about 2 cups, and I would just like tilt it all the way to the back and then pour water down, and once it empties, that's the water that I give it, no more no less. And I try to give it filtered water because it is in this eco planter. Not that it really matters, but it's just a preference of mine, just to give it a filtered water, a water that has been sitting instead of water that is straight from the tap when I water this. I think for most plants, I do either give them filtered water, rainwater, or water that has already been sitting out for quite a while before I give it to my plants. But yeah, as far as propagation, I haven't propagated from this plant because I just really want this to trail really long. This one I've propagated once or twice. I think the first time I did was for a plant swap, and the other times that I have propagated for this one is just because the length is so uneven. I try to keep it even, but sometimes it is not. So I would just like cut it off and then try to water propagate it, and once it has some type of roots, I just stick it back in. That's why this plant is very full. But yeah, as far as my future plans for these plants, I actually plan to give away some of these plants to friends or maybe to neighbors who will want it come spring, because I think I want to invest in other types of philodendrons, and I don't need this much Philodendron Brazil in my house or in my as part of my collection. And like I said, this is such a prolific grower that I don't mind giving away or selling even half of this, just because I know I would get them back pretty soon enough because of how fast and how healthy this plant grows. The only thing about this plant is I've noticed that the smaller leaves and the smaller vines have started to lose their variegation, or they only have that one straight line in the middle as their variegation, which I don't really care. I don't really mind, but it's also nice to have leaves that are like this, and those are just happening on the top and not at the bottom. So I don't know, we'll see next growing season what I actually plan to do. But as far as my pothos goes and my plants in general, this is the one that has gone through a lot of transitions and stages and different situation when it comes to how I grow it. It has been on a pole, it has just been just like sitting on a desk, and now it's hanging on the wall in an eco planter. So who knows what the future holds for this Philodendron Brazil. But yeah, these are my philodendrons, Philodendron Brazil and heartleaf philodendron, our plant mess of the day. That's our plant mess story of the day. I hope you enjoyed it. Please be sure to tune in tomorrow for the next installment of 25 Days of Plantmas. And if you miss any episodes, all of them will be included in the playlist that links up in the card and down in the description. Thanks again for watching. I see you, I appreciate you, and have a plentiful holiday season, everyone. Bye!